It was extremely interesting to listen to the previous discussions because although I represent the management sciences, I see a lot of common things and a lot of common topics. The only difference is that we have to look at the foresights, at the scenarios of the future and different approaches, and then to look which of them should be the base for the action in specific contexts. So the level of discussion is much, much lower than you propose here and you represent here in this group. This I will skip about the methodological approaches. The management sciences are basically experimental ones. So we are based on experiments and on empiria, and then try to generalize something, and until it works, it's okay. If it creates adverse impacts, we try to look for a new set of tools to change the contingencies for action. So this way we should look at the management theories as ones that have a very transient nature. So it's not very solid like physics or mathematics, because it's not of that general type of intelligence needed. Of course, we idealize a lot of things, but what is really important is understanding the cause and effect. Because if we do not understand this reality, we don't know where to act and how much resources and what sort of resources we will need. If we take the example of ecology, for instance, the successful action of humanity was protecting the ozone layer when we learned that. But the cause was evident, and the way of acting was evident, so the enforcement of legislation was pretty easy because the people were convinced that, yes, because it's true, we have to do that. In many other cases, there is no such clarity. So, of course, as at the era of breakthrough changes, the rational approach is not sufficient. It should be also it should be also based on aspirations, on sentiments, on emotions, so spirit, and we should, of course, base on the holistic, interdisciplinary, and very dynamic way of approach. So, as the organizations change, also the management has to change. These issues were generally discussed. What we should look at, what are the premises for change of contemporary economy and management theories. Demographics, rapid urbanization, growing aspirations and expectations of society, reducing poverty, concentration of property and wealth, exclusive growth versus bottom of the pyramid market. So we see the whole range of situations, and we have a lot of solutions how to act and how to really bring positive results. The question is of scale, and the question is of resources that are available in particular for particular application. We observe the increased propensity for cooperation, to cooperate, but frequently on a large scale when we are speaking about consortia, and there is also the notion of co-opetition, but co-opetition comes into reality. It means a combination of competition and cooperation is co-opetition. When the windows of opportunity are very short time open, so you have to mobilize huge resources, and individual organizations frequently are not able to do that. But the motivations to cooperate are not necessarily decent, not necessarily honest, so you have to protect your rights, you have to protect the ways of distributing benefits, and there is a lot of trade-offs that we should also take into account when looking for solutions. So it's not just the best solution, optimal solution. They are acceptable solutions, satisfactory solutions with all the risks and dangers. Technology impact, there is a huge issue of disruptive challenges and already existing experiences. Okay, let's what also worries me is still a very schematic thinking, especially within the political world. It's like in Kornai, when we are looking at the types of crises that appear, many of them are connected to the economics of shortage or economics of surplus. Those types of imbalance in the economy. But at present, the megatrends unfortunately interfere, and they create totally new situation. So those theories do not explain the way that politicians should act and economies should be created. So political responses are polarized on extremes and not necessarily looking for mediation. We do not look at the human resources as an aggregate issue. We rather apply the stakeholder approach and based on differentiations of roles in the society and economy of diverse groups. We try to apply multi-option, to formulate multi-options and change models for action. So they incorporate action learning, like the strategy process, decision-making, change management, customer relationships management, or customer experience management. And the example is in strategy. Before it was a very rational process and logically composed. Nowadays it's more experimental. So you see that the environmental change, we create also scenarios, foresights, or borrow them from specialists. We analyze and try to adjust organizational resources, create, of course, visions, missions, objectives, but very flexibly. Then you have to work out a multi-option strategy, implementation and controlling simultaneously. And through the action learning and through experimenting, you can get back, so there are loops that are turning all the time. So it's not just one process that has its beginning and the end. It's permanent turning. So it creates a lot of demand for work of people, for communicating, discussing, looking for better solutions. Conclusion. We need to cope with the pace and scope of change in a more comprehensive and controllable way. We are not satisfied with the state that it is. The economy, with its elegant scientific models, should become more contingent, incorporating new challenges and verifying the concepts of limits to growth, helping decision makers at all levels of governance. Of course, the basic statement here is that human resources should be treated as a multi-form capital, but to be discovered and to use more widely. And environment is the only livable space for humans, so its absolute priority should be put here. And a knowledge-based integrated solution are at high demand. Thank you very much.